All right, today we're going to pull back the curtain on this invisible system that powers, well, almost every physical product you touch. It's called product lifecycle management. Think of it as the hidden digital thread that turns a simple idea into the actual device in your hand. We're going to see exactly how it all works.
I mean, just think about your phone for a second, or your car, or even a super complex medical device. These things are absolute marvels of complexity, right? So let's just start with that big, fundamental question. How does something like that go from being a sketch on a napkin to a real thing you can actually hold?
And the answer is, well, it's surprisingly simple, but at the same time, incredibly profound. It's not magic, it's not luck, it's all about data. Specifically, it all kicks off with one single authoritative digital record. And having that one single record is absolutely crucial because the complexity we're dealing with today is just insane. Products aren't just objects anymore. They're these massive ecosystems of design files, supplier contracts, and change orders. If you don't have one central source of truth, you just get chaos. You get engineers working off old blueprints, factories ordering the wrong parts. It is a recipe for disaster. So how do we actually build that central hub, that single source of truth? Well, it all starts by creating a digital blueprint, basically a perfect digital twin of the product, long before a single piece of metal is ever cut. The most fundamental building block of this whole digital blueprint is something called the part. Now, don't just think of a physical screw or a chip. In this world, a part is like the product's digital DNA. It's a record that holds all the critical info. Are we making this ourselves or buying it? What's its unit of measure? And maybe most importantly, which engineer or which team owns this thing? But of course, a real product is never just one thing, is it? A single part is only the beginning. Real products are incredibly complex assemblies. You don't build a car from one car part, right? You build it from thousands and thousands of interconnected components. So to manage all of that complexity, you build what's called a bill of materials, or a BOM. Honestly, the best way to think about it is as the product's official recipe. You start with the main dish, the parent part, and then you link all the ingredients, the child parts, to it, specifying the exact quantities. This creates this perfect digital hierarchy of absolutely everything you need. Okay, so we've got this amazing digital blueprint. It's perfect, but it's still just a plan. It's just bits and bytes on a server. To make it real, you have to connect it to the physical world of suppliers and factories and actual components. And that, leads us to the next critical question. How do you make sure all the components in your beautiful digital design can actually be bought and built in the real world? Well, the system is pretty smart about this. It handles it through a really clear data model that separates three key players. First, you have the manufacturer, the company that physically makes the component. Then you have the manufacturer part, which is their specific part number. And finally, you have the vendor. That's the distributor you actually buy it from. And that distinction is so important because the best manufacturer might not have the best price, which is where your choice of vendor is key. So the thing that connects your internal design to the outside world of suppliers is the Approved Manufacturer List, or AML. This is the official bridge. It's basically a curated list that makes sure your engineers are only designing with components that have already been vetted, approved, and are available from partners you trust. But here's the reality check, right? Products are never static. They're never done. They evolve, they break, they get improved. And that introduces our next huge challenge. How do you control that evolution? So let's play out a scenario. Imagine this. Your brilliant new product is out on the market. Sales are through the roof. And then you get that dreaded phone call. A critical design flaw has been discovered. It is the absolute nightmare scenario that keeps engineers up at night. So the question becomes, what do you do? How do you possibly fix it? How do you update the design across every document, every part, every supplier, without unleashing absolute chaos on your company? Well, the answer is you don't just start changing things. No way. You follow a formal three-step process. First, you officially log the issue with a problem report. Next, and this is critical, you review the full impact. What other parts or products is this change going to affect? And then finally, an engineering change notice gets issued. That's the official green light that authorizes the new version and tells everyone who needs to know. And the beauty of this system is that it brings order to the chaos. Nothing is random. This formal process ensures that every single modification is versioned, reviewed, and approved. It protects that all-important single source of truth we started with. All right, let's zoom out for a second. A system that can control this entire digital thread doesn't just exist in a vacuum. It's powered by a much, much larger connected ecosystem of people and ideas. And what's really cool here is that this innovation comes from two powerful directions. On one side, you have the official innovators, RS Labs, the company's internal R&D team, always pushing the boundaries. And on the other side, you have the community, the actual users and developers who are out there in the trenches solving problems together. I mean, RS Labs makes their mission pretty clear. Right on their GitHub page, they say their goal isn't just to maintain the platform, but to actively shape the future of PLM. They're the ones focused on building the next big thing. But then you've got the community, and this is where the rubber really meets the road. Just look at these topics from the forums. These aren't abstract concepts. This is real, boots-on-the-ground stuff, navigating a massive version upgrade, implementing critical security like two-factor authentication, or figuring out how to connect the digital plan directly to the factory floor. This is where real-world problems get solved. So when you put it all together, the digital parts, the bill of materials, the sourcing data, the change control, and the whole human ecosystem, you get this incredibly powerful concept of the digital thread. It's this single, unbroken line of data that defines and connects your product from that first spark of an idea all the way to the final reality. And that really brings us to the final thought. Every product tells a story of its design, its evolution, its creation. So the question I want to leave you with is this. Is that story being written by chance and chaos, or is it being carefully guided by a deliberate, controlled digital thread? Your product is telling a story. Who's writing it?